Officially, hurricane season doesn't begin until June 1st, but hurricane season 2020 has begun early. We have a tropical depression off the coast of Florida and the Carolinas that is forecast to become a tropical storm. I'm Mike Nasel with the latest on the tropics. Here's the name list this year. This was first used in 1984 because back in 79 they came up with 6 alternating name lists. And as they rotate, unless the storm's retired, the same names are used. So some of them we've seen a lot of. I've tracked quite a few Berthas. But Arthur is the first name on the list, and this system is expected to become Tropical Storm Arthur. Take a good look at this name list, because if things go the way they're looking, we could get very far down this name list. So Dolly, Faye, Gonzalo, Josephine, Laura, Marco, Paulette, Renee, Teddy, Vicky. From Arthur to Wilfred, we'll see what hurricane season 2020 has in store. Here is the latest on our tropical depression. Tropical Depression 1, as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time from the National Hurricane Center, it was at 28.4 north, 78.6 west. Winds were 35, so it's perched just below tropical storm strength, and it'll likely become one later tonight or tomorrow. And as mentioned before, it'll be named Arthur. And it's moving north-northeast at about 11, 12 miles an hour, 1,008 millibars. The track here from the Hurricane Center brings it just offshore of the Carolina coastline as a moderate to strong tropical storm, say by the time Monday, Tuesday comes around. But it could be a little earlier or a little later, and it could move on the left edge of this cone or on the right edge. Right now, somewhere right in the middle is what we're thinking. But again, we'll see how close it gets to actually making a landfall on the Carolina coast. There's the visible satellite imagery of our depression, and you can see for a tropical depression, I've seen a lot worse. I've seen hurricanes look worse, to be honest. This has some shear to deal with, especially on the northern side, but it's trying to ventilate around in that counterclockwise fashion. You can see Abaco Island there, which of course was destroyed virtually by Hurricane Dorian last year. They're still recovering. And Grand Bahama Island, they really went through a lot last year, so hopefully this system doesn't give them any squally weather. But again, marine interests might be warned that there's going to be nasty thunderstorms right off the coast of Florida here as the system organizes and eventually makes that move towards the north-northeast over the next 24 to 36 hours. Again, the track forecast, some of the models want to keep it a little more offshore. A lot of them, especially the ensembles, have it coming onshore here in North Carolina in about 24, let's say 48 hours, and that is a risk. And because of that, we do have a tropical storm watch from north of Surf City, North Carolina to Duck, including Pamlico and Albemarle Sounds, and that's with the expectation that whatever this system does, it could potentially at least bring tropical storm conditions to areas of North Carolina, if not make an actual landfall. Again, it could be more on the left edge of this or more on the right edge, somewhere right in the middle, which would bring it very, very close. And remember, even if it's not intense, it could be spread out and you could have high surf and rainfall and just nasty weather spreading up the coastline. Not something you'd want to deal with, especially if you're trying to go to the beach, if the beaches are even open. Here's the sea surface temperature map, and you can see it's still early. You know, what we get a lot of times, as that's not what I'm showing you here. There we go. What we get a lot of times is hurricane seasons will have a storm or two in May or June. And it'll be like, oh boy, early start. And then it's absolute silence until August. And the late Dr. William Gray once said, August 20th, like somebody turns a switch. And especially in busy hurricane seasons like this one looks to be, it could really get crazy by August. But that doesn't mean we can't have anything in June or July. Nevertheless, there's the Gulf Stream. You can see that little loop current going all the way up and then looping around Florida. And our system, if and when it becomes Arthur, will likely ride that right up towards the Carolina coastline. A lot of beautiful warm water down in the Caribbean right now. They've been a little bit lucky the last few years. Jamaica, the Cayman Islands. You guys haven't had a lot in the last couple of hurricane seasons. We'll see if that stays this year or not. Wind shear is kind of a problem, as I mentioned before, on its northern side. You can see the red is high wind shear, the green is favorable, so it's kind of right in between. But again, it's too early in the year to really have it become anything intense. We have had hurricanes in May. Back in 1951, I think we had a hurricane in May, but it's a rare event to get a hurricane. Nevertheless, this could become a mid-range tropical storm, and that's enough to bring the nasty weather to the coastline. The radar is kind of cool. You can see the spinning there. See the right around here north of Grand Bahama Island. There's the spinning. It's pretty naked right now. Sure sign that it's not strengthening, at least not too quickly. But look at these popcorn thunderstorms blowing up around Florida. That's in the outer periphery of the circulation here of our depression. And again, this is all going to move on up towards the north-northeast over the coming days. I did want to mention, and I don't mention this almost never, near India, we do have a cyclonic storm. You know, in the Indian Ocean, they call hurricanes cyclones. And we have cyclonic storm Amphan. It's pronounced Umpun. Okay, Umpun. We have cyclonic storm Umpun in the southeast Bay of Bengal, and there is a cyclone watch for West Bengal and the North Odisha coast. And this system means business. Check that out, right off the coast of, this is Sri Lanka and the India coastline. That that doesn't look like our depression. That looks more like a Category 1 hurricane. And we do have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and those areas in the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal, very, very susceptible to high storm surges. So this system is forecast to intensify and strengthen big time. In fact, the forecast has it reaching Category 3 on our scale, and then just slamming somewhere into the coastline, whether or not that's Bangladesh or Myanmar or even in West Bengal. Nevertheless, if you're in those areas watching this update, we do get worldwide viewers. Be on the alert for Tropical Storm Umpun. So that'll do it for the tropics this time. I'm Mike Naso. I will talk to you guys next time with more on our system off the coast of Florida.